The following is a paid political announcement.
Lifelong Democrat Diana Florence served for 25 years as a Manhattan prosecutor under DA Robert Morgenthau. She put criminals away, stood up for victims, and protected our streets. Now, Diana is challenging failed Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg as an independent because it's time for a DA who fights for our families, not criminals. That's why Diana has won the support of organized labor like the steam fitters, plumbers, and ironworkers, everyday New Yorkers who want a DA they can trust. Manhattan needs a DA who will do the job, prosecute crime. That's Diana Florence. Under Alvin Bragg, crime is up and prosecutions are down. Bragg doesn't prosecute crime. He plays partisan politics. Bragg failed to protect women and failed to protect workers. As a prosecutor, Diana Florence won groundbreaking convictions, fighting against corruption, domestic violence, wage left, and daily working conditions. She's always been a partner of unions, community groups, and to cops like us. For Manhattan District Attorney, vote for Diana Florence. Diana4DA.com. Paid for by Diana for Manhattan DA.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Monday, October 13th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Windy and rainy today. Gusts could be as high as 40 miles per hour, the high 61. Tonight and overnight, more rain, low 57, and then Tuesday, cloudy, high 64. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 54 in raining in Chappaqua up in Westchester County, 56 in raining in Englishtown over in New Jersey, and it's 55 in raining right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
It may be one of those days to stay indoors. The Israeli hostages are finally home. A 10-year-old Bronx girl details how she was mugged. There were Columbus celebrations across the tri-state. Is it too late for the horseshoe crab? All right, let's get into it at 5:01. This nor'easter has been upon us since yesterday. The threat of excessive rain, damaging winds, coastal flooding. It's not terrible outside right now, but I will tell you there's lots of trees down. And just my short drive from Jersey City here into the city, multiple times where I had to sort of drive around branches and trees that had fallen onto the roadway. No doubt you'll see that if you're out and about at this early hour. A lot of you off for the Columbus Day holiday, so maybe you can wait until all that stuff is taken away. But the coastal flooding expected during multiple high tide cycles through this evening. The greatest threat for major damaging flooding is mostly actually on Long Island and then down the Jersey Shore. Now, so far we've seen some flooding, but I wouldn't call it major, so that's good. The high wind warning continues across Long Island along the Jersey Shore. Gusts could be as high as 60 miles per hour. Wind advisory for a lot of coastal communities up and down the Jersey Shore, Long Island. Driving again. Little hazardous this morning as people are finding out.
It was very windy, but big cars, so we were stable. All the other cars were flying all over the road.
Yeah, so you just got to be careful if you're going to be out there this morning. Thankfully, if you are, you will not have a lot of company because it's a day off for most people. Down the Jersey Shore last night, there was this wedding. It was supposed to be on the beach at Asbury Park, but of course they couldn't do it on the beach, so they watched everything from inside a restaurant.
We're so excited to celebrate their wedding, and we're coming here no matter what the storm was, so Here we are.
Yeah, of course. A wedding goes on as a wedding does. These surfers in the water at Asbury Park.
We're inside, and we had a view of the choppy water for the whole night.
And during the ceremony, there's some ding-dong running around in the water, and I'm like, I look over at my wife, and I'm like, what's this guy doing? There's no, if you get sucked out, you're gone. There's nobody to help you. I can't run out and get you.
But of course, it's great surfing weather. Beach towns, sandbagging in places like Seaside Heights where people are just a little too close to the water.
Jetty usually comes out maybe 20, 30 more feet. And you can see the wind is just messing with the sand a lot.
Yeah, on Long Island, This was one restaurant owner. He thought last night would be kind of like Friday night because everybody's off on Monday today. But he ended up closing up early because nobody was coming to the restaurant because of the weather.
Because of the weather, it's going to be flooring. Most of the people, they won't come. So there's no point to stay open. Nobody want to show up because of the weather.
Yeah, and the weather has canceled the Columbus Day Parade, which is unfortunate. Of course, we were going to do live coverage from the parade at West 59th Street, right near the Apple Store. That won't happen today. Some of the events surrounding the Columbus Day Parade, they're still on. There's a big service at St. Patrick's Cathedral. That's still happening. A big indoor lunch. That's still happening. But the parade itself, which, of course, is the highlight of the day, that is not happening. As Governor Hochul urging New Yorkers to be careful today, Mayor Adams was doing the same thing over the weekend, telling people, stay off a boat if you own one, stay off the beach. If you live in a basement apartment, this is a big deal. Of course, you got to watch the weather.
We're really asking people to be careful. We're expecting rainfall total of 1.5 to 3 inches with potential localized flash flooding. MTA Chair Janno Lieber says the MTA all weekend getting ready ahead of the nor'easter, just making sure subways were where they were supposed to be, drains were clean so the subway stations don't flood. Again, same holds true for the highways as it does down below on the subways. It'll be lighter than usual, but of course you want to make sure your subway goes.
The MTA preparations for wind as well as rain, are well underway, and we're also going to make sure that our customers are aware of the impacts to service.
Yeah, so the MTA all weekend was pre-positioning trains, tying some of them down, just making sure everything's going to work this morning.
We pre-position the equipment. We make sure that we have the people to do the work, the preparations overnight to tie everything down. The good news is it's going to be Columbus Day, maybe a little lighter impact on regular folks' commutes because of the day off.
Yeah, it's a bank holiday, so a lot of people will be off today. And then in New Jersey, just the sideline story connected to the storm. Outgoing New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, he's not in the Garden State where there's a state of emergency declared over the weekend. And so Governor Tahisha Way, the lieutenant governor, I should say, now serving as acting governor to make the declaration in his stead. Now, the term-limited Democrat who's known for taking frequent vacations, often to his Italian villa in Italy, made no public statement that he would be out of state as this powerful nor'easter barrels through. In 2021, was it 2021? Yeah, December of 2021, Murphy was slammed for taking an 8-day Christmas vacation with his family to Costa Rica as the state was setting new records for COVID-19 infections. This time, he seems to be in Italy with his wife with no plans to come back. Of course, he's not running for re-election, so that he doesn't have to worry about that part of getting slammed for being away. And I guess you can make the argument if he's taking a vacation, the state will run without him, and that is the case today. They'll have the lieutenant governor watching what is going on. WABC News Time 508. Let's go overseas, where Hamas has released all the living hostages now to the Red Cross in northern Gaza as part of this newly negotiated peace deal with Israel. The news has Israelis celebrating, but also acknowledging that there's a lot more work to be done.
We know the Palestinians are not going anywhere, and I wish all these countries will find some kind of solution that Gaza Strip will be a safe place to live, and we can live next to each other.
Yeah, so there's celebrations going on in Israel today now that those hostages have been free. Of course, they were taken captive by Hamas during Hamas' surprise attack on Israel October 7th. It was almost 2 years to the day, right? Today's the 13th. It was October 7th that attack took place. Former Israeli diplomat Olan Pincus, he says, okay, this is great, but he's cautiously optimistic about what takes place next because there's a lot more to be done for this peace deal to finish out.
All we have right now, and I'm sorry to be a party pooper of sorts, all we have right now is a ceasefire agreement. First, we get the hostages back, yes, and that's an extraordinarily moving and emotional moment. But then the hard work begins. the jury's out. I'm sorry to use the cliche. First, we need to see that the ceasefire holds.
Yeah, okay. Back here, there were some watch parties, people watching on at this early hour to see the hostages be freed.
Our focus now is ensuring that the first phase of the ceasefire holds, and it is certainly our hope that the second phase and successive phases also hold so that both people, both Israelis and Palestinians, can live in peace and dignity and security.
Now, ever since this hostage deal was announced, Israeli officials have been working to get hospitals ready inside Israel to take these hostages on. And they're setting them up so the families can spend time with their loved ones. And they're worried, of course, about what kind of shape these hostages are in as they're being released. Now, here's somebody who was walking through one of those hospitals, watching on as doctors got ready to take in these, well, now former hostages.
I mean, it is a hospital room, but it's not really a hospital room. They made everything so that the family can come and sit down with them. There's 2 beds, but there's only going to be 1 hostage over here, so that a family member can maybe sleep with them so they don't stay alone during the night, with freedom right outside the window.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of recovery that has to be done. The thought is that of these 20 that have survived likely have been starved for the last 2 years. Some of them may have not seen sunlight in the last 2 years. So there's going to be a lot that has to be done.
The fact that they were basically starved for more than 2 years might cause a refeeding syndrome. So we are prepared for that. Of course, the fact that some of them probably didn't see sunlight for a very long period of time might also have its effect.
And right next to here, they have the physiotherapy, little gym, but they have enough things so they can start moving their body again.
Okay, but the great news is they have been released. They're back in Israel. President Trump flew to Israel overnight. Any minute now, he's supposed to speak before the Israeli Knesset. Aboard Air Force One, he briefly spoke to reporters.
This is the first time everybody is amazed and they're thrilled, and it's an honor to be involved, and we're going to have an amazing time, and it's going to be something that's never happened before.
Now, we were watching as the president landed in Tel Aviv early this morning. You can imagine the security is intense. Heavy security in place for his arrival. There was a red carpet rolled out for him at Ben Gurion Airport. Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu was there to greet him. And the president saying that this is just the beginning part of the process, but a very positive moment. And he says he hopes one day he'd be able to visit Gaza in the future.
Yeah, I'd be proud to. I see it. I mean, I know it so well without visiting, but I do see it. Yeah, I would, actually. I'd like to do it. I'd like to put my feet on it, at least. The war is over. The war is over, okay? You understand that? But I think it's going to be a great miracle over the coming decades. And, you know, if you go too fast, that's not going to be good.
Yeah, so the hard part, well, every part of this is hard, but a really hard part of this process now is the second conversations, which the president will go to Egypt for. They'll talk about disarming Hamas and then rebuilding Gaza and rebuilding a new government there. J.D. Vance, the vice president, talking about this over the weekend as well.
It's really a great moment for the world, too, which is why the president's going to go over there and celebrate with these hostages. But it's a great thing, and I'm very excited about it.
And the J.D. Vance, the vice president, was asked about sending troops, American troops, to Israel to monitor the ceasefire agreement, which is apparently part of this deal.
We already have troops at Central Command. We've had them for decades in this country. They are going to monitor the terms of the ceasefire. And that's everything from ensuring that the Israeli troops are at the agreed-upon line, ensuring that Hamas is not attacking innocent Israelis.
And again, we are waiting for President Trump. He is inside the Knesset building in Jerusalem, set to speak before lawmakers in Israel at any moment. Now, of course, as we get some of that, we'll pass that on to you. 5:14, let's bring it back home. The legal team for Luigi Mangione is looking to drop the charges carrying the death penalty now.
Lawyers for the alleged United Healthcare CEO shooter Luigi Mangione are claiming that charges which make him eligible for the death penalty do not meet the legal threshold. The defense made the claim in a court filing. They also argue prosecutors should be barred from using statements Mangione made to police before he was arrested and evidence that police was found in his backpack, including a gun and ammunition. Lawyers say Mangione was never read his Miranda rights and was searched without a warrant. He was arrested after a days-long manhunt in a Pennsylvania McDonald's. He has pleaded not guilty, and no date has been set for his federal trial. I'm Liz Radabali for 77 WABC News.
In a moment, we'll go down to South Carolina, where there was another weekend mass shooting. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Oladen. Start here, NFL Week 6 out in London, where the Jets were. Quarterback Justin Fields got sacked 9 times by the Broncos defense en route to a 13-11 Jets loss to Denver, moving New York to a still winless 0-6 on the year. Bo Nix threw an early touchdown pass, and Will Lutz kicked a late go-ahead field goal as the Broncos won their 3rd in a row. The Jets managed just 82 total net yards on offense for the day, but despite that horrendous offensive display, still had the ball with a chance to drive for a potential winning score. But Fields was sacked on 4th and 8 from the Denver 44 after Aaron Glenn opted to go for it rather than send out Nick Folk for a long field goal attempt. Folk was 3 for 3 on the day. Fields struggled all game against Denver's dominant defense, completing 9 of 17 passes for just 45 yards. The Jets finished with minus 10 net yards passing, the fewest in franchise history. It was also the fewest in any NFL game since the Chargers had minus 19 against the Kansas City Chiefs in 1998. Glenn is still searching for his first victory after last week becoming the first Jets coach to begin his tenure with 5 losses. The Jets, the league's lone winless team, now own 6 for the 3rd time in their history, joining the 2020 and 1996 squads. Up next for them, they'll host the Carolina Panthers come Sunday. Tonight, another double header installment of Monday Night Football here. 7:15 p.m. kickoff between the Bills and the Falcons out in Atlanta. Bills 4-1, Falcons at 2-2, and Buffalo are 3.5-point road favorites in that one. And then thereafter at 8:15 p.m., that'll get the Bears and the Commanders underway out in D.C. Bears at 2-2, Washington at 3-2 now, and Washington is 5.5-point home favorites in that contest. Head to the ice now at the Garden. The Rangers dropped to an even 2-2 on the young season in the form of a 1-0 shutout loss to the visiting Washington Capitals. 39-year-old Jonathan Quick made his season debut in net for the Rangers after Shesterkin won 2 of the Rangers' first 3 games. Quick made 20 saves. Rangers had 2 power play chances in the second period, but couldn't capitalize. They were coming off 2 road wins, 4-0 at Buffalo and 6-1 at Pittsburgh, after losing their home opener 3-0 to the Penguins. Up next for the Rangers, they'll host Edmonton come tomorrow night, and this afternoon and tonight on the ice at 1 p.m. a matinee between the Winnipeg Jets, I should say, and the Islanders. And then tonight, the Devils will get going in Columbus against the Blue Jackets. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop there. Head to the Diamond now. MLB playoffs, ALCS Game 1. Mariners beat the Blue Jays 3-1. Seattle leads that series 1-0 now. Game 2 set for tonight at 5:03 p.m. from Toronto. And also tonight, the NLCS will get underway out in Milwaukee between the Dodgers and the Brewers. That's an 8:08 p.m. first pitch there. That's your Sports Know, man. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 519. Cops in South Carolina investigating a mass shooting at a crowded bar over the weekend.
The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office says at least 4 people are dead and 20 others injured after gunfire erupted at Willie's Bar and Grill on St. Helena Island. That's about 50 miles north of Savannah, Georgia. Deputies found 4 people dead at the scene and several others were taken to the hospital in critical condition. No arrests were reported and the motive for the shooting unclear. I'm Lisa Carton.
Video of ICE arresting a local TV employee in Chicago, that's gone viral. The cell phone clip shows Debbie Brockman, a WGN video editor and producer, being zip-tied while lying face down.
What's your name?
Debbie Brockman, I work for WGN. Let them know.
I got you.
She was detained during an immigration enforcement operation in Lincoln Square. ICE says Brockman threw objects at Border Patrol car, and she was placed under arrest for assault on a federal law enforcement officer. Meanwhile, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker pushing back against President Trump's consideration of invoking the Insurrection Act. He was on ABC's This Week yesterday. The Democratic governor says there's no ground to use the 19th century law.
If the Constitution means anything, the Insurrection Act cannot be invoked to send them in because
They want to fight crime.
The Insurrection Act would allow active duty troops to be deployed in U.S. cities. It was used in 1992 during the Los Angeles riots. President Trump told reporters last week that it's been invoked before and that will do the job if Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker won't do the job.
They just want troops on the ground because they want to militarize, especially blue cities and blue states. They're claiming in court that this is about protecting ICE facilities and ICE agents and not about crime on the streets. But then you hear Vice President Vance and the President of the United States contravening that.
From Illinois, let's go down to D.C. Lawmakers both sides of the aisle continue to point fingers as the government shutdown drags into another week. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson says Democratic lawmakers are hurting the American people with each passing day.
And right now they're eating up the clock. They're doing this for political cover. Chuck Schumer, when he voted for the exact same measure back in March, took a lot of heat from the left of his party, and he doesn't want to sustain that any longer. So he's doing this and inflicting pain for his own selfish reasons.
It comes after a court filing showed the Trump administration has begun laying off thousands of federal workers. The layoffs include employees from 7 agencies, more than half of them coming from the Treasury Department and the Department of Health and Human Services. The Senate is not set to vote again on the measure to end the government shutdown till at least tomorrow. Temporary funding bills from both parties failed last week.
We've got to have a handful of Democrats in the Senate who apply common sense and agree to reopen the government so that we can continue all these discussions.
Now, health care remains the major sticking point for Democratic lawmakers in this ongoing shutdown as it drags into this third week. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries telling Fox News yesterday the issue is impacting millions.
My friends on the other side of the aisle, they seem to believe that health care is an extraneous issue. We don't believe it's an extraneous issue. It's a central issue. This is the wealthiest country in the history of the world, and people throughout this country should be able to afford to go see a doctor. The states that are most affected are all states that Donald Trump has won. In fact, I think it's the top 5 states are West Virginia, Wyoming, Alaska, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So this is not a partisan fight for us. We're fighting for everyday Americans.
Again, another shutdown vote, or at least a vote to end the shutdown, not expected to happen till at least tomorrow with the Columbus Day holiday. 523, President Trump says he'll impose new 100% tariffs on China starting November 1. He blamed China's aggressive position on trade and its announcement of large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make.
This is not something that I, instigated. This was just a response to something that they did, and they didn't really aim it at us. They aimed it at the whole world. The whole world.
President says this is absolutely unheard of and an international trade and a moral disgrace in dealing with other nations. He says the U.S. will also impose export controls on any and all critical software. This again after the move by China.
They hit the world with something that really is not anything that people are going to do. We're going to have to see what happens. That's why I made it November 1st. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, apparently hoping both sides to negotiate something before that drop date. 524. Former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez, out of the hospital, has been booked into the Marion County Jail in Indiana.
Authorities say Sanchez assaulted 69-year-old truck driver Terry Pohl at a hotel loading dock in Indianapolis last weekend. He told police he stabbed the former New York Jets star in self-defense. Toll has moved to sue Sanchez and the Fox Corporation for permanent disfigurement. Sanchez has been officially charged with 3 misdemeanors, and he has a battery charge that was upgraded to a felony. I'm Lisa Carton.
From Indiana down to Texas at 525, the ribbon has been cut on this new elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, replacing the one where 19 students and 2 teachers were killed in one of the nation's deadliest school shootings. Jesse Rizzo is the uncle of one of the victims. He was there for the ribbon cutting.
The school will provide healing, unique opportunities, and establish hope for generations that will attend this campus.
Teachers will move into the $60 million campus starting tomorrow. The names of the victims were not mentioned during the ceremony, but there were tributes with the number. The first day of class at what's now going to be called Legacy Elementary School. That'll be October 20th.
We all share our support for the school and gratitude to those who made it happen. You can imagine how difficult it is knowing that your loved one will never set foot on this campus.
Now, 525, former President Biden has entered a new phase of cancer treatment.
Former President Biden is undergoing radiation therapy for prostate cancer. A spokesperson for Biden said Saturday the new phase of treatment is expected to last 5 weeks. Biden was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer in May. Last month, he also had skin cancer treatment known as Mohs surgery. The former president, who turns 83 next month, is said to be doing well. I'm Lisa Carton.
526, a new Kinsey Institute study has found gaps in sex education could have lasting impacts through adulthood.
It could lead to things like relationship struggles, lack of confidence, and reduced quality of life. For the study, researchers surveyed nearly 4,000 single U.S. adults on topics usually included in comprehensive sex education programs. The research found close to a third never received any form of information about healthy relationships, consent, communicating with partners, or dating during their youth. Only one topic was taught to the majority of those surveyed, with 55% reporting they learned about reproduction or pregnancy. I'm Rob Martier.
And YouTube offering creators who were banned from the platform a second chance with a new process.
Previous rules led to a lifetime ban, but now the video sharing platform is rolling out a feature for previously terminated creators to apply for another channel. Under the new process, approved creators will start from scratch with no prior videos, subscribers, or monetization privileges carried over. The change follows a settlement last week with YouTube agreeing to pay $24.5 million to end a lawsuit involving the suspension of President Trump's account after the January 6th Capitol riot. I'm Matt Mattinson.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour. Talking the news with Noam Laden. All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now, Talking the News with Noam on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Monday, October 13th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Windy and rainy today. Gusts could be as high as 40 miles per hour. The high 61. Tonight and overnight, more rain, low 57, and then Tuesday, cloudy, high 64. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are, 54 in raining in Chappaqua, up in Westchester County, 56 in raining in Englishtown over in New Jersey, and it's 55 in raining right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 5:39, this nor'easter moving in over the weekend. Powerful, tall waves crashing into beach towns like Ocean City, New Jersey, Seaside Heights, Asbury Park. There's flooding in some of those areas and places where it normally floods. In other neighborhoods, they're waiting and watching, hope the water doesn't rise. There hasn't been as much rain so far as expected, but the wind gusts, they have been bad.
I just love seeing just that power in the water because it is just majestic.
It's hurricane-like conditions here, and it's, very windy.
Yeah, we're watching down the Jersey Shore. This is true on Long Island as well. These high water vehicles sat parked outside, ready to do rescues if they need to do so. So far, we have not heard of many.
You're a little anxious every time I look at the door when the water comes up higher and higher and higher, and you just hope it stops.
I hope the water starts going down before the next high tide. It might not. We're lucky.
Having my daughter check the sockets and make sure that everything is turned off and unplugged. So just in case for a power outage.
Shopping for food so I don't have to come back out.
Yeah, any reason to go shopping for food. The stores were just packed yesterday. People worried they would not be able to get out today. Then you had all the lawmakers holding their press conferences over the weekend, warning you about being out and about. Mayor Adams telling people to stay off boats if you have them, stay away from the beach, kind of the obvious stuff.
We're really asking people to be careful. We're expecting rainfall total of 1.5 to 3 inches with potential localized flash flooding.
So far on the subways, everything's A-OK, at least right now. MTA Chair Jano Lieber had workers out and about getting ready for the nor'easter before it came in.
The MTA preparations for wind as well as rain, are well underway, and we're also going to make sure that our customers are aware of the impacts to service.
Some of this is just pre-positioning trains, so they're ready to roll this morning. Of course, a little bit of quieter commute today since it is Columbus Day.
We pre-position the equipment. We make sure that we have the people to do the work, the preparations overnight to tie everything down. The good news is it's going to be Columbus Day, maybe a little lighter impact on regular folks' commutes because of the day off.
Now, the downside of all this bad weather, the high wind advisories, the rain has canceled the Columbus Day parade. So bad for all those people. I felt terrible for those people who spend all year getting ready for this, planning the whole thing, inviting the bands, inviting contingents from Italy, around the world to take part in this big parade. People fly in for it. But unfortunately, because of the weather, they have decided to cancel it. It will not happen this year. 542. The other big story this morning happening overseas in Israel, Gaza. Hamas has released all of the living hostages, all 20 of them, to the Red Cross. This was in northern Gaza. It was in the last couple hours. We were waiting for this to happen as the President Trump, arrived in Israel this morning. The news has had Israelis celebrating in the streets for the last couple of days. Of course, everybody on edge to see if this moment would take place, that the hostages would be handed over. They were. There was none of this as we had in the past where they had these big ceremonies, the Hamas, where they would bring these people out onto stage. It's just horrible displays. None of that happened. Hostages, all the living ones, were handed over to Red Cross officials. Now they're making their way. Some of them are already back in Israel already. They'll be brought to hospitals.
We know the Palestinians are not going anywhere, and I wish all these countries will find some kind of solution. Gaza Strip will be a safe place to live, and we can live next to each other.
So Israelis trying to be optimistic that this is the beginning of something bigger.
All we have right now, and I'm sorry to be a party pooper of sorts, all we have right now is a ceasefire agreement. First, we get the hostages back, yes, and that's an extraordinarily moving and emotional moment. But then the hard work begins.
Yeah, and that hard work will include the president. President Trump has landed in Israel, is about to speak before the Israeli Knesset. He'll take part in high-level talks in Egypt. So will Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu, as they talk about disarming Hamas and creating a new government and rebuilding Gaza. The president, he spoke to reporters on Air Force One on his way over to Israel overnight.
This is the first time everybody is amazed and they're thrilled, and it's an honor to be involved, and we're going to have an amazing time, and it's going to be something that's never happened before.
And the president talking about a new Gaza, and he says he hopes one day to be a proud visitor to Gaza in the future.
Yeah, I'd be proud to. I see it. I mean, I know it so well without visiting, but I do see it. Yeah, I would, actually. I'd like to do it. I'd like to put my feet on it, at least.
And it was about 4:30 this morning that the president landed in Tel Aviv. Red carpet rolled out for him. Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu there to greet him, as were other Israeli lawmakers. He walked down that red carpet, was driven to the Knesset, and that's where he is right now. I'm not sure what they're waiting on, but he's expected to speak before lawmakers any moment now. Here was more from him overnight on this flight to Israel.
The war is over. The war is over, okay? You understand that? But I think it's going to be a great miracle over the coming decades. And, you know, if you go too fast, that's not going to be good.
All right. We'll continue to, of course, watch this story as the morning wears on. 5:45. Let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. And here's Justin Ellick.
Thank you, Noam Layden. Start here with a rundown. NFL Week 6 out in London. Quarterback Justin Fields got sacked 9 times by the Broncos defense en route to a 13-11 Jets loss to Denver, moving New York to a still winless 0-6 on the season. Bo Nix threw an early touchdown pass, and Will Lutz kicked a late go-ahead field goal as the Broncos won their 3rd in a row. The Jets managed just 82 total net yards on offense for the day, but despite that horrendous offensive display, still had the ball with a chance to drive for a potential winning score, but Fields was sacked on 4th and 8 from the Denver 44 after Aaron Glenn opted to go for it rather than send out Nick Folk for a long field goal attempt. Folk was 3 for 3 on the day. Fields struggled all game against Denver's dominant defense, completing 9 of 17 passes for just 45 yards. The Jets finished with minus 10 net yards passing, the fewest in franchise history. It was also the fewest in any NFL game since the Chargers had minus 19 against the Kansas City Chiefs in 1998. Glenn is still searching for his first victory after last week becoming the first Jets coach to begin his tenure with 5 straight losses. The Jets, the league's alone winless team, are now 0-6 for the 3rd time in their history, joining the 2020 and 1990 the 6 squads. Up next for them, they'll host the Carolina Panthers next Sunday. Tonight, another double installment of Monday Night Football, 7:15 p.m. It's the Bills and the Falcons out in Atlanta. Bills are 4-1, Falcons at 2-2. Buffalo are 3.5-point road favorites there. 8:15 p.m. tonight, the Bears and the Redskins out in Washington. Bears 2-2, Washington at 3-2 currently. And Redskins are 5.5-point home favorites in that contest. To the ice at the Garden, the Rangers dropped 2 and even 2-2 on the young season, and in the form of a 1-0 shutout loss to the visiting Washington Capitals. 39-year-old Jonathan Quick made his season debut in net for New York after Igor Shesterkin won 2 of the Rangers' first 3 games. He made, Quick that is, 20 saves. The Rangers had 2 power play chances in the second period but couldn't capitalize. They were coming off 2 road wins, 4-0 at Buffalo and 6-1 at Pittsburgh after losing their home opener 3-0 to the Penguins. Up next for the Rangers, they'll host Edmonton come tomorrow night. This afternoon and tonight on the ice, 1 p.m. matinee between the Winnipeg Jets and the Islanders. Islanders there at home. And 7 p.m. tonight, the Devils will drop a puck in Columbus against the Blue Jackets. Head to the Diamond here. Your final from Toronto, the Mariners of the Blue Jays, 3-1 in ALCS Game 1. Seattle jumps out to a 1-0 series lead there. Game 2 set for tonight, 5:03 p.m. from Toronto. Also tonight, the NLCS will get underway between the Dodgers and the Brewers out in Milwaukee. That's an 8:08 p.m. first pitch there. That is your Sports Noam, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:49. This may be connected to the storm. We have not gotten all the details, but got the story in that a loose solar panel fell from its mount in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn yesterday, hit a woman walking on the sidewalk. She was raced to the hospital where she passed away. It's a horrible story. This is Ocean Parkway and Brighton Beach Avenue. Here's a witness.
I'm shocked. I'm very sad. It's, of course, a tragedy, and everybody is shocked who I'm talking to. Our building always notified us about the weather and stuff. But I guess it's unfortunate.
Yeah, police taping off this area in a parking lot that had multiple solar canopies. It appeared that one of the canopies was missing. That might have been the panel that hit and killed this woman. We have not been given her identity. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons calling out New York officials over the weekend again for giving commercial licenses to illegal immigrants.
During a weekend appearance on Fox News, Lyons spoke about an Indian truck driver arrested in Oklahoma with a New York State ID that did not properly identify the driver.
And the worst part, there's a Real ID star right up there in the corner. I don't know about you all, but it was like going through a security clearance for me to get my Real ID. So I can't believe that we're giving illegal aliens who have no right to be here these driver's license. You have these sanctuary states that want to go ahead and try to just make it welcoming for these people that we don't know who they are.
Officials have not revealed how the driver obtained the ID with the first name, no name given, but the DMV has confirmed the license was real. I'm Liz Ranabali for 77 WABC News.
Out to the race for mayor. Every poll continues to show Democratic mayoral nominee Zohran Mamdani the favorite to win in November. The latest one was that Quinnipiac poll that came out last week after Mayor Adams had dropped out of the race. It showed Zohran Mamdani gaining 1 point, but Andrew Cuomo gaining 10, but he's still pretty far behind Zohran Mamdani. So what do New Yorkers think? Are they just getting ready for Zohran Mamdani to take the oath of office?
I don't like Cuomo. I don't like, what's the other guy? Curtis. So I guess, what's the third, the front runner? Mamdani, yeah. I think I might vote for him.
I don't know, because to me, everyone is the same.
I'm going to vote, but I don't know yet.
I know I'm not going to vote.
Yeah, I'm going to vote. It'll probably be Cuomo.
Yeah, so Governor Cuomo saw a 10-point drop, or rather rise in support. He went up 10 points, 23 to 33% in that Quinnipiac poll. But he's, again, Mamdani's at 46. He's at 33. Curtis Lee was at 15%.
I think because people are listening to what he has said and what he has done and what he says he will do.
I think a lot of it is the free things he's pushing that are not going to happen. It's just not. This is New York. They're not giving you nothing for free.
I mean, New Yorkers share what they're most concerned about as we get closer to Election Day.
Police don't even arrest people anymore. You have to murder somebody to get arrested, and then they still letting you out on bail. Not even with a bail. You getting out because of the bail law thing that they passed.
Mental health. There's a lot of people out here that need help.
We need safety.
And people so nervous about this upcoming election that there's an investigation investigation that's underway after someone sent a mysterious white powder to the Board of Elections on Friday.
At least 8 people counting mail-in ballots were exposed to the mystery powder around 2:40 Friday afternoon at a BOE facility in Midtown. Daily News reports no one was injured. Still not clear what the powder was or if it was dangerous. The city's election next month has attracted national attention as President Trump and Republicans have targeted Democratic Socialist frontrunner Zoran Mamdani as a symbol for the Democratic Party. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
5:53, let's go up to the Bronx, where a 14-year-old's recovering after being shot in the leg over the weekend. The shooting happened around 6:30 on Saturday night. This was in the Soundview section on Taylor Avenue. Officers found the teenager with a gunshot wound to his leg. Video captures police canvassing the nearby area for clues as they began in their investigations. He's in the hospital. He's in stable condition, going to recover, so that's the good news. But no arrests, no description of the gunman, and no motive for that gunfire. And not too far away, a 10-year-old girl says she was followed, then robbed of her chain on her way to school in the Bronx at the end of last week. Zoe, we did not have her last name, was alone when she left home, headed to school about 7:30 in the morning, East Tremont section of the Bronx. When she got to East 176th Street, she sensed something was wrong, when someone was behind her, and sure enough, they were. She's speaking to Eyewitness News yesterday.
I see this man following me, so I moved to one side, and then he went with me to the other side, so I walked faster.
Yeah, so she was trying to get away from this creep. The middle schooler hoped the man would go away. He did not. He got in front of her. He asked her about the chain around her neck, then ripped it off her neck. There's still marks on her neck from where he did so.
He said, "Give me that goddamn chain." And he took my chain. He snatched it off. My uncle and my dad gave it to me for my birthday. Why would you do that? That's bad. You should go to jail for that.
Yeah, definitely. They just got to find this jerk. And, of course, she had been pushing her parents to let her make the short 3-minute walk to school alone. And that was the first day that she did. And that's when this horrible thing happened. Fortunately, she's okay at the end of the day. Unfortunately, they have not found the jerk who's behind this crime. Dozens of cats rescued over the weekend from a Mill Basin, Brooklyn home. Another case of animal hoarding. Neighbors had been complaining for months about the fact that there was just so many cats in this house.
They were skinny as could be. The hair was ripped out. They were injured, fighting. She's always had a problem with having a lot of cats, but never this many.
Yeah, so AMA Animal Rescue, they came in along with the city to rescue all the animals.
Just in the last 2 months, we worked on 3 cases like this. And then, of course, the additional incident in Mill Basin, that makes 4 in just a couple of months. These are the ones that we know about. Imagine the ones that we don't know about.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like every day got one of those stories. The vets are looking at these cats, assuming that they're okay, they'll let people adopt them. And we'll end with this story. Unfortunately, the Columbus Day Parade has been canceled today due to the weather, but there was a lot of Columbus Day celebrations across the tri-state over the weekend, like the one up in Eastchester in Westchester County at the Lake Isle Country Club. They've been doing this for about 50 years, and they did so yesterday.
I'm Italian heritage, and we come here every year, and we just enjoy the sense of neighborhood, the culture, everything that this festival has to offer.
Always the food. The food is the best. So we come for the food, but it's always so fun. And it's like kind of the last event of the season, just to welcome in the fall, but we love it.
The heritage that it has of Christopher Columbus and the parade and everybody, it's so festive. It's great. Just such a cozy little, beautiful, for everybody to come here.
Yeah, and they had this great little parade in the Morris Park section of the Bronx, and they went ahead with that. They had their parade.
I've been going to these parades since the 90s.
We need to celebrate Columbus and Indigenous Peoples Day because they both brought impacts to the world, and we wouldn't be what we are now without them.
Parade is one of my favorite things because I get to share
I get to share my happiness with the community. I love doing this.
Yeah, now, of course, the Columbus Day Parade here in the city has been canceled, but we'll be celebrating Columbus all day right here, 77 WABC.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
The following is a paid political announcement.
Lifelong Democrat Diana Florence served for 25 years as a Manhattan prosecutor under DA Robert Morgenthau. She put criminals away, stood up for victims, and protected our streets. Now, Diana is challenging failed Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg as an independent because it's time for a DA who fights for our families, not criminals. That's why Diana has won the support of organized labor, like the steam fitters, plumbers, and ironworkers, everyday New Yorkers who want a DA they can trust. Manhattan needs a DA who will do the job, prosecute crime. That's Diana Florence. Under Alvin Bragg, crime is up and prosecutions are down. Bragg doesn't prosecute crime. He plays partisan politics. Bragg failed to protect women and failed to protect workers. As a prosecutor, Diana Florence won groundbreaking convictions, fighting against corruption, domestic violence, wage theft, and daily working conditions. She's always been a partner of unions, community groups, and to cops like us. For Manhattan District Attorney, vote for Diana Florence. Diana4DA.com. Paid for by Diana for Manhattan DA.